while we've got all these cars here, I thought it might be a really good opportunity to have a walk through this. So where are you getting all these from at the moment?
So at the moment we use Pilbara Motor Group. They're our main supplier for all our Toyota vehicles down there. So Steve Peck's our account manager.
Yep.
So we've been working with him closely for the last 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
With him supplying our vehicles. They're a mining sort of Toyota facility, so he understands our requirements, our pace. Like, we're quite fast, reactive sort of company. So yeah, so we've been through them for a long time. We got an extremely good relationship with them. So
yeah,
that's really good. Pecky understands how we build our vehicles and why we build them the way we do, and I think he's been able to build a relationship with Norweld now over the time. Very similar to you and I, Shan. So he understands the urgency and the importance, and sometimes the push.
He's actually been excellent for us to deal with. Just forecasts really well. So it's all pretty well.
Yeah, he's extremely professional.
So I note that you've got just some accessories on here. Do you want to quickly run through these?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a pretty standard build now with a Hilux and a Land Cruiser, and we try and do them pretty uniform. Once again, it comes back to the parts availability, reliability. You know, we've tested so many different types of suspension systems in the past, but to go to something that's quite robust with the ARB OME system, which is really, really good, but we've used them because of the support once again in the Pilbara. Pilbara Motor Group are an ARB distributor, so they've got an ARB in Newman and an ARB in Port Hedland, now over in Crather as well, which is really good. So we've got quite a good spread with them in Western Australia, where a lot of our works are. And as we know, ARB is a pretty superior product, so we've got the ability to get it out of any place across WA and New South Wales. Wherever we're working, we can grab that. So in these ones, we obviously got the nitro shocks, got 600 kilos constant leaf springs, 140 litre ARB long range tank. It's really important that we have those long range tanks. We travel lots and lots of Ks during some swings. So and with the poly, that was probably something that we spoke about. I've always had steel tanks, and I know that Brock's always had steel tanks as well. To go to the poly, it's pretty amazing. There's actually a really good YouTube clip on the way that they're designed and how they operate, and we haven't had a drama with them all.
Is that the one with the tank going over it?
Yeah, with the tank going over it, and I think it's probably saves a bit of weight as well. Obviously being weight conscious with the GVMs in vehicles, and most of our fitters and even Sparkies have a lot of weight, so we need to take that into account. So the more weight we can save on what we're doing in the car, it gives them more payload. We can carry more tools, more parts, more lubricants, all that sort of stuff. So that's really important for us. So yeah, it's been a good build. It's been a long process to get a good structured build of what we want, and now we're quite happy with it. So from this stage, it obviously comes to, so this is the initial stage at PMG, and then it will come down to Norweld with Dion and the team, and they'll fit up the body. Once the body's fitted, it goes back to PMG. PMG do a couple of few more little bits and pieces, more the mine specking side. So as everyone's aware of, we've got to have an element of mine specking to be site compliant. They complete that, it gets registered, it gets delivered to us. Our workshop manager, Rob, he then takes delivery of it from Pecky himself, and then he'll put it through a process with our internal auto Sparkies, where we put some, GME XRS in. We've got, red arc lights on, constant facilities in there as well, and some other little bits and pieces, spotties, and so forth. And then we use Welsh Pool Signarama to sign right out the rest of our vehicles, and they've been second to none. They're really supportive, they're fast, they're a great bunch of team down there with Jamie.
We'll have a look how good that one looks in a sec.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just, you got standard Toyota tow bar?
Yeah, standard Toyota bar, We don't do a lot of towing, but in some aspects you'll see some of the team towing lighting plants around, predominantly with night shutdowns at night time. And then every now and then service trailers and fuel trailers and all trailers. So yeah, standard. We stay standard with that one.
I guess, and that's the beauty of the Norweld being specifically built, the right length. You're not having any issues of it.
Yeah, with turning circles and stuff along those lines. Yeah, absolutely.
So this one's got the standard.
Yeah, standard Toyota bar. We do have some that we like going to the ARB. We like to try and keep uniform, but supply and demand, and with the pace that we need to get these into the fleet, sometimes we don't get that option. But yeah, generally we stay with an ARB bar, but in this case this is obviously a Toyota one. But that's about it. Like, there's not much more. Obviously the tyres, and we have a tyre and rim package which is relevant to the GVM as well, and that goes to a 245, I believe. And we try and stay with the Toyos or the BFG tyres. That's a preference for us. We seem to get longevity out of the Toyos at the moment. They've been really good, but yeah, we like the BFGs. We do get a lot of Ks out of them, and aesthetically they're quite pleasing as well. So It's always got something to do with it.
It's good to see it at its start point. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've got this sitting here at Norweld. We're going to have the build going onto this one very soon, so this one will be out in the wild.
Yeah.
Once it gets all the finishing touches on it.
Absolutely.
And speaking of which, we might go over and have a look at your single cab cruiser, 'cause that looks quite nice.
Absolutely. So this is a 2024 facelift cruiser. So it's the first one that we've seen. It's quite, it's been quite interesting. I'll be honest. When I first saw it off the shelf, and I wasn't really impressed. I didn't really like the aesthetics of it, and I was a little bit sort of taken back what Toyota had done. But over time it's grown, and now with this build we finished this week, I'm quite impressed with it. I don't mind the square shape at the front. I think it sort of ties into what the industry that we are. We're very much a commercial, industrial industry, so it sort of goes hand in hand. And I think once you put the suspension underneath and put some tyres and rims on it, I think it comes up really, really well. And the package altogether is fantastic. Yeah, it's been a good build. It's been awesome.
Yeah, no, it presents well. I know when it rocked in here today, the owners of Norweld actually, they were quite impressed. They looked at it and said, far out, it just presents really well.
Yeah, it does.
Black bonnet, that's a standard feature of...
Yeah, it is. That's a bit of a trademark,
I think one of you guys were the originals for that, weren't you?
Yeah, so that was one of Brock's original trademarks for our builds, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, we'll quickly have a run through of this. I don't know if you want me to do that or you can do it. But
absolutely. I think we both know it quite well. We built it together as a team. So I'll probably talk about more of the creature comforts that we've tried to include in the build. So one thing that everyone likes as a fitter on a job is a bit of music, whether you're into your drum and bass or your country music. That's something that wherever you go, whatever shot you do, there's music. So we went with the Eco Gear sound bar. They can link between a couple of utes. It's really good as well. It's quite cool where you go to a shut, there might be 4 or 5 Norweld bodies on a site, and we're all linked together, listen to the same tunes. It's a bit of a laugh. And we went with that. We've gone with the stand-up fridge for ergonomics. Like I said before, we've got different types of people in our business, whether tall fellas, short fellas, tall ladies, short ladies. So we needed to build something that was ergonomic and really easy to function. The old chest freezer angle that sat in there might be a bit hard for the shorter people to get into, especially now with how much weight we have in the back and etc. So we've gone with it stand up. It's fantastic. It's a Bushman's. I've got one myself. I absolutely love it. It stays cold. It's got a little freezer, something that you don't get in a normal conventional angle where you don't get a freezer and fridge. It's one or the other. So we get a bit of both. And we've also included the travel buddy. I think, like I said before, our team absolutely loves the travel buddy idea. And to be fair, if you actually looked at it from an efficiency point of view, people are now heating their food while they're at the start of the day. We go to get our crib and our smoko, we're putting it in our travel buddy, and by lunchtime, she's ready to go. We don't have to drive back. In some places, you might be at a digger or a dozer or a dump truck that's 50, 60 k's away. So we're eating on the job now, so we're increasing efficiency. So we're getting, blokes are actually getting, and ladies are getting half an hour break at lunch rather than having to drive and stuff around. So that's been a really cool thing. And I think now with the travel buddy in the market, there's a lot of pages on Facebook. There's just so many things you can cook in there.
Oh yeah.
And I absolutely love it. I've run one myself for a long time since they really first came out, and it's so versatile. It's really, really cool. So that's from our perspective of the creature comforts we try to include. They're only small things, but they go such a long way.
Yeah.
And I really think that if we can build an asset and build a vehicle that's got some creature comforts in it, it just goes to that retention. It goes to that utilisation of your asset. And I think people enjoy going to work. It's something different that we haven't seen in the industry for a long time. So I think I'm extremely proud of that aspect, and everyone gets a good feed and look after himself.
I can tell you from when you guys first rocked up at Norweld and said what you were going to do, we were like, far out, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Normally all that gear's at the front, but given the whole flip around's really good. It's quite functional for what you guys do.
Yeah.
Keeps all the weight centered.
Yep. And that's probably a big thing, is to keep that weight forward, in front of the axle. That's one of the main reasons that we did flip it. And the other aspect is we've included that back module, I suppose, in an aspect, is to make sure that we're keeping weights down and weights compliant. And sometimes that's really hard. And I know a lot of fitters want to have, you know, heaps and heaps of sockets and heaps and heaps. But in the modern day, we need to look at what we carry and what we use and what job we're going to. At the moment, we go to a job, we might do 2 weeks away and we come back for a week. So there's no reason that we can't change some of our tooling around that we might need for each job. I know that it can be, you know, a bit labour intensive, but weights is such a big thing. I know it's the flavour of the month. It's really hard to follow. It's really hard to understand sometimes. If you tow caravans, you tow boats, you will understand how balancing those weights out is incredibly difficult. And it's something that the liability as a business that we need to be aware of, and we need to educate our team on and say, hey, look, well, realistically, you can put 1,200 kilos in here, but you can't put 1,400 kilos in there, because if something goes wrong, the liability falls on everyone. And unfortunately, the actual liability falls on the person driving. So we need to make sure that we're building an asset that can take the weight that we need and nothing excessive.
I guess, you know, to your point earlier with the fridge, you start putting the old fridge slide drop mounts, you're giving away 50 kilos
100%.
straight away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great option.
And I think the other thing that was something that I didn't quite realise either is the rubber. The weight in rubber is absolutely crazy, and I think going to that thinner rubber, and we've saved, you know, 40, 50 kilos there.
I think even, you know, just when we put that flat floor in for you, and that was one of the things we talked about is, you know, guys not having the lift over a lip.
Absolutely.
You know, that rubber comes up nicely there. Got nice little pockets in there, so no nuts and bolts and screws and bits and pieces go through there. Yeah, no, it's come up quite well. Even just keeping it simple, like you guys have done, is you know, the tie down points here for the different toolboxes.
Absolutely.
Don't need to go too technical, eh?
I think we see a lot of, you know, other manufacturers and that where you put your box in, people are drilling holes, rib nutting, nut certain. I think that way to be able to put it in and have some tie downs, whether they're stainless steel, like locking system or ratchet straps or whatever it may be. It just keeps it neat, it keeps it tidy. And if you want to change something out, you're not having to unbolt things and stuff like that. So it's really quite ergonomical. In time to come, it'd be really nice that we had change out canopies. So you could run 2 people in one ute, 2 and 2. Canopy comes off, canopy goes on. And I hope in time that we do get to that. We're a long way from that in our industry, not just in diesel and dirt, but in our industry with people sharing utes. But I think this has given us the opportunity to take the canopy off and put it onto some stands and put another canopy on at a site. So you've only got one asset rather than running 2. It's all those different things. You got a bit of cost cutting as well for a site. So yeah, it's fantastic the way that it's all come up.
I remember actually having that chat with you when we first talked, and you know, the question was, why do we build it in 2 pieces? And, and that's exactly a good point, that we can actually change these out easily.
Absolutely.
And the other point, you know, you build a service body, one. You know, a complete unit. If the thing gets rear-ended, that unit, that utility's off the
absolutely.
So, you know, we can change these out very easily. Just unbolt the canopy, put it on the base. So it's about that utilisation and that.
It is. Definitely. Turnaround time. So electrical system, pretty stock standard. We got a 180 watt panel on the roof. We run the Energive stuff. It's fantastic. It's bulletproof. We've got a lithium battery in the back, so there's plenty of power. You're only really powering the fridge and a speaker and a travel buddy, but enough power there that if we're charging batteries, you know, 12 volt charging stations, there's plenty of power there, which is really good as well.
That's all in behind here too, which is
it's nice and located.
All concealed. So, And I know the boys probably use this, a bit of a workstation.
A bit of a workbench, you know, cleaning parts, you know, having a feed. It's definitely very functional in the aspect. I know a lot of everyone sets their ute up differently, but I know a lot of the boys have set up that as a consumable drawer. So you know, your grab kits, your O-ring kits, etc. They've used that drawer. They've used the shelf for the Milwaukee batteries, and the table just gives you enough to be able to pick up a reasonable part. And I think off the top of my head, these are quite heavy rated rollers as well, so you can put a decent weight on there, which is really good. It's definitely got some really good functionality, and I think the best part about it, when you're at the end of the day and you're coming home from site or something like that, you can pull over and you can cook yourself a feed, and you've got somewhere that's clean and it's tidy. You're not trying to eat a bag of chips on the front dash. You can pull up, you can sit somewhere, you can have a bottle of water, you can have a pie or a burger, and you're out and you're nice and clean, and it's away from inside the canopy.
And the boys are never going to get lost either, mate. There's a map on there, right?
That's it. I think a lot of them have travelled a long way, but I think I love the part of that with Norweld. It's a cracker.
I obviously got the standard stuff. We've got the wheel chock holders.
Yeah.
We might push on around the other side. We've got the the 25 litre hand wash station. That's handy, eh? Boys?
Yeah, it has. It's been really good. Yeah, I think we've had that sort of set up on a lot of our other utes as well. But that's more than enough to keep keep your hands clean. And it's just easy, and once again, tough as nails being poly.
Yeah,
it's really,
and having
really
that
good.
taper too, that departure angle. Just,
Yeah,
you're not gonna,
doesn't get ripped off.
Yeah, a lot of them are square, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
It looks nice and tidy.
No, it's very good.
Got some bit of gear in there, but they're 200 kilo rated slides. So
yeah, absolutely. So you've still got an ability to put quite a fair bit of gear in there. We are obviously developing, and this is where we talk to innovation, developing a longer draw to fit some more stuff in as we've taken away the water tank from underneath and put it to the side. But it's amazing how much gear you'll fit in a trundle draw. It really blows you away.
Stuff like this too. The guys have got a lot of expensive gear, dust proof and waterproof. It's yeah, absolutely. With the dust proof and waterproof makes a big difference. That's one of the biggest killers of everything in the industry is dust. Yeah. So keeping out that Pilbara dirt, the Goldfield salt and all that sort of stuff. So it's really, really good to have the waterproof and dust proof seals. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Got the Fleet Maxi lamps on the back. They're unique to us. They look tidy as. Fits in with that black theme, doesn't it?
Ties in quite well. Yeah.
So what else we got? We got the central locking. So how's that been going for you?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, it's a new product and it hasn't been around that long, so it's I think we're one of the first to get it, which is really cool. But yeah, fantastic. We haven't had any dramas with any of the the mechanisms or anything of that failing, so it's great. I think central locking is such an important thing. When you're tired and you're at the end of shift, and you get back to camp. We work in some remote areas with some sticky fingers, so it's nice to be able to just press the button, lock it up, and you're safe. So I think that's really important that we've got that function in a canopy. There's nothing worse than going around with a tiny little key trying to lock every lock. I think that's important. The dual lighting as well has been quite a hit. Having the orange and white light.
Getting the bugs out.
Yeah, getting the bugs away. As we know, we get a lot of rain up north in the Kimberleys especially. And when we're working on a site and at night time, there's just bugs everywhere. So to be able to go to that orange light, the boys and girls have had some good feedback about that. So I'm really stoked with that as well.
So I know you've already drunk all the beers out of this, mate, but that's ample enough room for your team.
Yeah, I think that's a 65 litre fridge, and you got an 8 litre freezer in there as well. So you got the ability to carry 3-4 days worth of food in there. A lot of the time now when we go to a site, you're getting your crib, it's already pre-made, you're able to slam it in there, pies, sausage rolls, like the food on site now is absolutely amazing. So you've got enough ability to stock that up, and you've got your oven on the run. So, mum's spaghetti bolognese before you drive out, you get a couple of days to be able to punch that in there.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's really good. And I think everyone was dubious at the start about how they'd perform in that, but now they've been around for so long. Yeah. You can cook a roast lamb in there, you can have a pie. It's really good to be able to, the last thing you want to do some days is go into a big crib room with 50 people and there's 2 microwaves and we're all battling for that. And before you know it's 25 minutes into your smoko and you haven't had a feed. So just to be able to do that, I think it's creature comforts. And we do a lot of remote travelling where we're going from point A to point B. And health is such an important thing in our industry now. So it's gone on the day when you just used to rock in and get a cheese sausage and a nice coffee. So a lot of the boys are obviously into their fitness for their well-being and that. So the ability to pre-cook some stuff from home when they're travelling from Perth to whether it's Headland or Broome or where it is, and you've got enough to be able to cook for yourself. I think it's important.
And these have been on the Norweld builds for years, mate. We know they work. It's got the new double fold, which is great. I know we don't get any dust and
dust and water in there. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably one of the weak points we see. Well, I think everyone sees in the market is the under-tray toolboxes getting water into them, and we've seen heaps of them in different ways happen. But at the moment, with the way this functions, mate, you don't get a thing. It's really good. Yeah, fantastic.
Having the and I noted that you put the wider wheels on. Thank you for that, mate. They look really nice for our open day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the guards on these, they're all adjustable. Yeah, absolutely. If you rip one off, we can change it over pretty quickly. Yeah,
and quite quick and easy to change. So 4 bolts in C channels, it makes it really, really easy. The modulation as well. So it's the same with the under tray toolboxes. If someone was to ding one or we hit a rock or something happens, it's as simple as dropping those 4 bolts and banging another one back on. So that's definitely an added bonus. Yeah.
So these ones have got the door jar alarms in them. So your team put all the
so we do all the aftermarket electrical, internally.
Yeah.
But door jar alarm to make sure that we're not leaving them open on site.
Yep.
We've seen that happen over the years. I think everyone's got a bit of a meme somewhere in their photos with a door ripped off or something like that. Someone's run into a digger or a water cart or whatever it may be. So I think they make a big difference. They're nice and loud. As a stock standard feature, I think you can't go without them, to be honest.
No. All right, want to have a quick chat about this one, mate?
Yeah, absolutely.
This thing looks unreal.
Yeah, it's such a cool build. It's come up really, really nice. So pretty much just a standard SR5 Hilux with the interior leather, which is really nice, bit of comfort. ARB front bar, ARB side rails, side steps. 3500 GVM by West Coast suspension. And then obviously the half canopy. So you got the big draw. You still got the travel buddy. So once again, got the draw to carry bits and pieces in for when you're traveling away. Yeah, hard hat for when we do some site visits. And same sort of mod cons with the travel buddy and the upright fridge. So this one's got a bit bigger of an upright fridge. It's got the 130 litre Bushman, which is can carry it. If we go to a site, Brad can get a Subway platter and be able to run it into site.
Yep.
He can take some bits and pieces for the team, which is really cool.
Yep.
And we went the half canopy instead of the full canopy, just to have a bit of extra space in the back. Like I said before, we do move from site to site quite regularly. So to be able to grab a toolbox or some tool bags or whatever it may be, parts, and to be able to move it, which is really good. It's also got it's got a 50 litre water tank in there with dual sides to wash your hands and drinking water or whatever it is. They're obviously a poly-safe drinking water tank. So when Brad's quite remote, who is our field manager, he's got the ability to carry some water and it's quite a unique build to what we have. So it's still fully mine spec, fully compliant. We keep it quite clean when we're in town with our branding, but it's we've got the ability to put magnetic stickers and stuff like that for when we go to site. So 130.
Yeah.
Bushman's fridge, went the same with EnerDrive. Still same size lithium battery as the rest of them.
It's a lot bigger, isn't it?
And there's definitely a lot more room. So the ability to treat the team when we're on site, to take some goods out there, it's really good. But it gives him the fundamentals of being able to be away for a long time. So to be remote and not having to go to stay in towns and stuff like that. In the cooler months, he travels with the swag. He'll start a caravan park. He'll start a camp. It sort of brings it creates the fun in the job. Like what we're talking about before is we've turned a recreational canopy into an industrial commercial canopy, but you can still use it in the recreational space. So for someone like Brad, who's traveling from site to site all over Western Australia, he's got the ability to throw a swag in, do his 5 days, doing his site visits, and then go to Carrageenny for 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, how good's that? Yeah. And you've still got the same stuff as what we would have in a recreational market. So I think that creates some fun. It helps us, obviously, again, with retention. But you've got the mod cons that you really, really want when you're away from home. So it's awesome. It's really good. So keeping the dust out, like that's the aim of the game is to keep all your dust out and all your different bits and pieces. So I've been super impressed with dust. Like this has been in the field for 6 months now, and it's had a bit of a detail, but you can still find where dust is when it's getting in there. So nothing in the grooves or anything like that, which is it's testament to the product. It's amazing.
It's one of the things that I know when we first started talking about, we talked about how strong these things were, and the thing that kills canopies is corrugations.
Absolutely.
When you look. We've talked about it, that, when it's 100 by 50 by 3 mil box section up there, nothing's going to harm it. So.
Nah, and there hasn't been a crack, and we've had, like we said, we've got 40 of these built now, and there's not been a crack. There's been definitely no manufacturing things at all. So it's it's a bulletproof product, and that goes back to the warranty as well. Like Norweld warrant their workmanship for 20 years, and in my opinion, so you should. Yeah. If you've got a decent product, you should be able to warrant it for 20 years, and that for us is another aspect of going with Norweld, is that we'll get 2 lifespans out of a canopy, maybe even 3 lifespans depending on what we do.
I've seen up to 6, mate.
Which is amazing. So we should be able to get to a point where it becomes like a roadable item, and all we're doing is pulling out a Hilux or pulling out a Cruiser to change it out and keep going. So Yeah,
very
it's
good.
awesome. Yeah. And then the only real difference in these ones is we put a cell fire in them, because obviously Brad needs communication back to our office with movements, and that's pretty much the same build. ARB, GME, XRS, spotlights. And this is quite, obviously, like I said before, it's got all the mod cons with the leather and that. It's quite a nice vehicle. So, yeah, it's awesome. Long range tank.
Yeah.
Pretty standard as well. So
presents well, mate. Very good job.
yeah, that's fantastic.
All right, mate. Well, thanks again.
Cool. Awesome.
Really good having you, eh?
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Easy.